it's one thing I have found, it's one thing to come and sit and listen, and it's another to go home and try to practice it, because what happens after a couple of weeks, you've totally forgotten what you learned 3 weeks ago that you meant to go try. So I just encourage you to try one new thing each week, whatever that might be. As we go through the next couple of weeks, we're going to give you some very specific things, and I'll try to have some handouts for you so that you'll have it for when you want to do it a couple of weeks from now. Today we're going to talk about relationships with our children. And did anybody do the second family activity? Yay, how did it go?
We got to do feed the dogs, feed the water, and have a bowl together. So.
It was successful?
Well, yeah, you look like trying to not hold Claire and do things, and so Claire kept on going, it was pretty funny hearing them process it afterwards. So I got it all on video. But
Good. Show it to them 10 years from now.
yeah, we relaxed today. We were watching it.
It's really, yeah, they do like to go back and look at it and see it and to continue to know and learn those things over and over. That's good. But the Heritage Builders, I think it's .org, that's where they have the toolbox, which is all of the activities that, if your child is having a question on something, you're like, oh, how do I go about, teaching that to a 5-year-old? It's pretty big topic there. The book will tell you what they're trying to teach for each activity. So that would be something really good. Okay. So today we're going to be doing relationships. Turn this. Is that okay, guys?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about relationships. And one of the things with children, at every age of course, is they're ever changing. You figure them out, and then what happens? Yeah, we didn't figure it out. Now we have to switch gears. And if you think you've got the first one down, and the second one comes along, I promise you, that child is no way is it going to be the same. So, it's an adventure. Just look at it as a journey full of ups and downs and adventure. So we are going to talk today about relationships with your children being first priority. A lot of times we think it's the teaching part. We need to teach them this. We need to potty train them. We need to, get them A+ on LTC Bible Bowl. That isn't necessarily really where it's at, because what happens is if you don't have that relationship, they're not going to respect you, they're not going to listen, they're not going to take the discipline. They're just not. That's the way it is with anybody. If somebody criticizes you and they don't have a relationship with you, how do you feel?
Defensive.
A little defensive. A little. But if you have a relationship and it's a good friend, you're like, wow, maybe you're right. You take it a little bit better. So that's what we're going to concentrate on today, is just the relationship. Children usually reject Christianity because of they don't usually reject Christianity because of bad teaching. They do it because of weak relationships. Now, there are lots of studies out there that talk about different areas of teaching relationships, what the church does, what age they become a Christian. All of those research, different things come up, but they all come back to the relationship. You have to have a relationship with your child. And that isn't just, I see him every day, I tuck him into bed, I pray with him. It's, what is he like? What does she think about this? Why is she hiding behind me? What is that saying? What do I need to do about that? So it's basically truly getting to know their soul, getting to know just their thoughts, opinions. I mean, little ones still have opinions. And so that should be our main focus. Those blessed with the gift of children are called to inspire and nurture the faith of the next generation as life's greatest privilege and priority. And I know when you're up in the middle of the night, it does not feel like a privilege. And when you're having to go to school because of a discipline problem, it doesn't feel like this is the best gift I've ever had. But you gotta roll with the punches. What I want to do, we've talked about Deuteronomy 6 through the last couple of sessions. I'd like for us to all read it together because I really want us to see what God has to say about this. So let's read that together from the screen. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you stay at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands, tie them on your foreheads. Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates. That's pretty specific. It's like all the time. When you're sleeping. What is the greatest threat to successfully passing the faith to our children? It's negligence. Now, I'm sure we all will clothe our children. We feed them, even though sometimes it's driving through Chick-fil-A, which is okay. But do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? If you don't have an overall mission statement of what you want this child to look like in 10 years, I'd like you to start thinking about that. Because if you don't have a plan, the old saying's true, those who fail to plan to fail. You can't just put it on autopilot and hope we make it through the day. Some days are like that. But if you have the overall plan of what you want this child to look like 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, it's really important. I just want to make sure that you're intentional about parenting. It's like we talked about being intentional about being a couple. It's not just going to happen. You may go through the days and everything's kind of rocking along really well. But when things go wrong, do you have the tools to make it work? If you don't have a relationship with your child, it's going to be really hard. It's not something that you can decide, oh, I'm going to have a relationship with my child today. It's built on a day-to-day basis, over time. It means doing some things you really don't want to be doing, whether it be the nitty-gritty stuff of just the day-to-day physical, or I remember one time, I look back now and I think, oh my gosh, I was just really crazy, but James was into Pokemon. I don't know if we still have Pokemon. Do you still have Pokemon? Okay, James was really into Pokemon. And I remember staying up half a night while he was sleeping, getting all these cards like organized in this binder for him. And, you know, it's like I had to try to memorize these things so that when he was talking to me about these things, I'd be like, oh yeah, I know that guy, he's powers number 10 and he's water or fire or something. And you know, it made him know that, wow, Mom, she's cool, she can do this. And to this day, I have to say, my son is awesome. He really is just an awesome kid, and he will just call me to talk about whatever. And if anybody has had him on Facebook, which I think, I don't know, Eddie might have him on Facebook, but he had he called me Sunday, he goes, did you get on Facebook, Mom? No, I haven't today. He goes, man, I have a cool picture of a hook through my finger. I'm like, oh, wow. Was that not the grossest? Oh, and it went all the way through. It was terrible. I'm chill about it. But I think that he's 23 now, and he's a very quiet young little boy. And however, at home he can kind of be himself, and so we just learn to be really good friends. And it is really nice. There are times there that you know that they're not going to speak to you, those teenage years, and you're dumb and you can't do anything right. You just know that. My mom told me that, but I didn't believe it until I became a parent, a teenager. But they will get past that. So just know if you're close to the teenage years, might be a little trouble, but still you can sneak on that social media and stay in touch with them in that way. But we do need a plan. We need to be friends to our children, as well as leaders, as well as disciplinarians. But we do need to make sure that they know that they're loved. I have a lot of kids that I've seen in my office over the years, and knowing their families, and they don't feel loved. I'm like, at church every Sunday, you're always doing something with your parents, and yet they don't feel loved. What does that mean? It means they don't really know them. They don't feel safe to expose themselves. So it's real important to always have a safe environment. Meaning you just set up some rules around your house where respect and security in that home is a rule. You know, if another kid is putting down the other sibling, you need to make sure that you stop that because they don't feel safe and they need to be protected, each one of the children. So we need a plan, and we're going to work on that plan in the next couple of weeks. Today we're going to talk about the first two of these, parenting principles. First one is leverage legacy, and the second one is playing the odds. Those are the two we're going to talk about today. Next week we're going to do define normal and go with their brain. This is the legacy principle, and they've had these on the video, I think the first two, but this is just a repeat. What we do today will directly influence a multi-generational cycle of family traits, beliefs, and actions, for good or bad. It will happen, whether they're good or bad. First and most important step in the legacy principle is making sure our own hearts are right with God. You cannot lead your children if you aren't right with God. You don't have a heart for God, how are you going to show your kids you have a heart for God? So, we talked last time about God, marriage, children, in that order. I want you to think of it now as God, you, marriage, children. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to stop and take time to heal yourself, grow spiritually, whether it's going to a ladies' class or a men's retreat that's coming up. Whether it's going to counseling because maybe you have issues that need to be resolved. Because if we aren't in good form and we're not right with God, we're not perfect, and that's okay because that's another thing we need to do for our children is we need to show them it's okay to make a mistake and apologize. Because nobody's perfect. And that it's okay to go to that person and apologize. And we should be doing that as parents. If we lose it, you know, and we just had a bad day and we lose our temper, you know, we need to get on our knees, stare them in the face and say, you know what, I am so sorry. That was not fair to you. And that was not right of me. And apologize. And help them to see that there is, that you're growing too. It's a journey. We don't arrive till we die. We really don't. I mean, hopefully we get better every day. But try to remember that you definitely have to possess what it takes to teach these kids the faith. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to know the books of the Bible backwards. That's a fact. Those are facts. And that's okay and that's good. But I think the principles in your heart needs to be a heart of God. And that will shine through you to your children. But it's a process for all of us. And none of us are totally there. And some days we are, and some days we're really off. But that's important that you get yourself right so that you can then pass on that faith to your children. The likelihood principle, in the context of healthy relationships, children tend to embrace the beliefs and values of their parents. For this principle to work for us as parents, one, we must focus on our relationship with our children. If we want the values that we teach them to stick, we've got to have a lot of glue of love. A lot of glue. We must master the art of enjoying our children. I often wonder why people have kids if they don't want to enjoy them. It's a lot of work. I'd rather be sitting on a beach somewhere, you know? Learn to enjoy your children. And it may be that maybe you're not happy in your life. And that's, again, it goes back to you, and you need to figure that out. If you hate your job and you come home grumpy, something needs to change. If you're having issues in your relationship, go get some help. Take some time to go talk. So it's really important to have fun together. We have, I don't know if we talked about family night. Family night is, family night is a great thing to put on your calendar. Kids look forward to it. It's fun. It's a good time for you to just chill. You don't have to worry about the bills. You don't have to worry about the dishes and the laundry. They'll be there when you get back, I promise you. You're not going anywhere. But just learn to have fun together. We're going to do the video.
Don't make me count to 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's the parent rap, y'all. We may spend most of our time chasing toddlers down, but we still know how to rock the hizzle.
I don't even know what you just said.
We used to be cool, back in the day, back on the block, watching PG-13 movies, staying up way after dark. Then we had a couple shorties, and now we're really flossy, cause now we be rolling with our own little posse in the minivan, or in our little wagon. Let me throw it to moms, cause the little one is sagging.
I used to bling it up, I used to dress real chic. Now I accessorize the food that's already been chewed. And that's alright, I make this diaper back look good when I'm walking through the mall trying to wrangle my brood. My PB&Js will set your world on fire. I can make you mac and cheese blindfolded on a wire. I'm wiping the doo-doo, kissing the boo